Welcome to the Levity Floatcast. Whether this is your first listen or you're floating through the archives, we appreciate you being here with us. Today we talk with Mariah Wild, a Pittsburgh-based photographer and professional dessert tester. So sit back, relax, and let's floatcast. But there were some wild stories from retail, like the people you would have to deal with on the regular that were like regulars that would come in and be like, GNC, this is my living room. How are you? And fucking, yeah.
This is my living room.
Well, people would like post up at like GNC for like 90 minutes telling me about their workouts and their nutrition and their nonsense.
God.
Right. But
No, people do that at Trader Joe's too, and it's kind of like encouraged in the sense that like you're supposed to talk and kind
tell
of
me about Trader Joe's. Talk to me about Trader Joe's.
I mean, people just suck. They just ask you the dumbest questions, or like, my biggest pet peeve, and like I never do this anymore, is like, even if you are 40 and older, but if you're under 40 and you have working arms, like you're not an amputee, why are you not bagging your own groceries? Why? Like, I don't get it. You have a cart full of $400 worth of groceries, and yes, that's a real number that I have bagged. Many people have. You're just going to stand there?
Sir, that's a controversial opinion. All right.
That's a hot topic. He came in with a hot one on that
I don't
one.
know about that. It's not
I was shamed. I was bag shamed because I am there every week. I used to bring my bags, and they told me I could no longer bring my bags. And then when I tried to bag them, they told me to step back, sir.
But is that just because of COVID or because you were a hostile customer?
It's been 4 months. It's been 4 months of no bagging. I wish I could, but yeah. I love Trader Joe's. I'll die on that sword, man. I'll die on that sword.
No, it's a great store. I mean, I still shop there. But I don't know, just like the things that you see from people.
Oh, it's tough because there is, like, for as cool of a brand that is, there's really, like, I get in there sometimes and I really like the quality of their stuff, and they have, like, good things, but I get in there and I'm like, just get the fuck out of my way with, like,
too nice sometimes.
Yeah, like, I don't want the dude singing, right?
Yeah.
There's always somebody that feels like to me that there's a level of stress where, like, I just emit sounds. Like when they're cutting up the oranges and stuff to hand out to the people, and all of a sudden they break out in some fucking Jimmy Buffett song. I'm looking at you like your soul is lost, sir. Your soul is lost.
Please tell me you've seen the comedian Craig content, because like that's he has like a bit on that because he used to work at Trader Joe's. But yeah, another thing is like people come up to you and they expect you to be so happy, so they're like, "Man, I just love your products. You guys have the lowest prices, and I'm always here." Cool.
Thanks.
I don't really know how to respond. Like, you think I love everything in this store?
Yes.
Welcome.
Or it's like they ask you, how do you cook this? Bro, I don't know. That's what the internet's for. Like, you got 1,000,001 cookbooks on the internet.
Well, the tough thing is, too, they also do where, like, if you want to try something.
No, but we hold up. We love that as employees.
Right.
Because if you try it, well, maybe I shouldn't divulge this, but whatever, we get to take it to the back and eat the rest of it. So you open cookie butter, please. We got bread and cookie butter in the back or whatever.
I heard you want to try speculoos.
What?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can go in there and be like,
I can just point to something. You're telling me I can point to that.
taste.
You're going to open it.
Go up to any employee and say, I would like to sample this or try it or whatever lingo you choose. Say it in Spanish if you want.
Okay.
And then we'll open it. You know, just don't bring the organic lettuce. Bring something good. Bring
Right.
their version of Doritos or whatever it is.
Wait a minute. So you tell me I get a rack of lambs, and I go, I want to taste this?
That, I don't think so. I mean, if you want to eat raw meat, like, I would definitely open that
There
for you.
has to be, I'm just thinking there has to be some limit on that. As cool as they are, and I wonder where that limit is where my mind goes to. Like,
I would love to see someone on during Thanksgiving time. Like, can I sample this organic turkey?
I'm gonna need this the leg of this turkey, sir. I'm gonna need this cut out.
Just
now.
the leg.
Sweet, man. Do you want to roll us into our question of the week?
Question of the week. We need question of the week music.
Oh.
So we've been bantering for quite some time and
Yeah.
getting to know each other, even though I already know you.
Hey.
So just to roll in with ease here, you know, what are you watching on Netflix right now? What are you into?
So I recently got into anime. I know. That's like
Sick.
I know.
Yes.
Oh.
Air high five.
But it's I'll admit I was one of the people that thought it was like just for nerds. I was that person until I learned that like there's one for literally everything. Like any tiny interest you have, there's an anime on, and there's one on volleyball, and so I'm obsessed.
Of course.
I'm so like I would like put on my pajamas at night. I got like my dinner ready, and I would like sit with a volleyball and like watch volleyball anime. Like the coolest kid in the world. I can't pronounce the name though.
Dang, I was gonna say plug it real quick. Let the people know.
I don't speak Japanese. Yes.
My man.
It's backing me up there. It's so good.
Awesome. I've been on a Brooklyn Nine-Nine kick. I just put Joy on, and it's Terry Crews is the funniest.
Really?
Yeah.
It's so good.
I've been on the Social Experiment. Just watch that and scared.
So you don't watch anything anymore, is what you're telling me.
Pretty much.
You're off the grid now.
I told Troy I threw my phone off a bridge and unplugged our Wi-Fi. If you have 90 minutes, just watch it. It's one of the scarier things of the integration of technology.
Good.
Yeah, man,
I'm already scared, so.
Already terrified. Mariah, so excited to talk with you today. I thought one of the cooler things when I looked at your Instagram profile, it says you are a professional dessert taster.
Yeah. Diabetic. No, just kidding.
That led me down a tough road of diabetes at a young age.
It's been a rough time. No,
A lot of training.
got to power through. No, I would do like a lot of food shoots, and so all the chefs like learned that I loved dessert, so they'd like give me to-go boxes after the shoots. It was the best.
Why did you ever leave?
Oh, I ask myself every day.
What was your favorite, or what was one that really stood out to you as a professional dessert taster?
Ooh. I can't play favorites.
And was this in Pittsburgh, or because I know you traveled to Florida and whatnot to shoot?
Most of this was in Florida,
Okay.
so it was pretty dope. I would love to do it in Pittsburgh. I would not be mad. I'll taste all the desserts up here, but
Gluteny, #1 bakery in Pittsburgh. Just gonna throw that out there.
Okay, I haven't been there. I'll get on it.
It's on Murray Avenue. Go right after this.
Walk right up. I know what I'm doing.
I think they're closed, unfortunately.
Oh no. Maybe like cheesecake.
Really?
It's a really good mouth feel, you know? Like
I love when people use that as a descriptive.
but you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
It's relatable.
Yeah.
It is.
Like I don't even know if I'm enjoying the flavor so much. I'm just like, this feels good.
I don't know. What does cheesecake taste like?
Sweet.
Just plain cheesecake?
Well,
I mean, to me, cheesecake honestly just tastes like a lump of soft cheese. Like, it doesn't really taste like cake. It's its own thing, but somehow it's good. But if you have it, it has to be in moderation. In my opinion, I can't have cheesecake like 2 nights in a row. I could have donuts 6 nights in a row.
weak. Just kidding.
She said, "Step your game up, sir." She called you amateur.
Throwing blows here.
Right,
She
right.
came in with heat of that's
It's
amateur level.
respectable. You're a respectable human.
But I mean, on the flip side, if I'm getting cheesecake, I'm going balls to the wall. I mean, I'm going like double Oreo peanut butter fudge ripple cheesecake, like the craziest thing you can get at a Cheesecake Factory. That probably
that's
doesn't
valid.
exist, but I'd eat it.
No, it's for sure exists somewhere.
Yeah, that's on someone's menu, man.
Or someone just got an idea and is going to open a restaurant that only sells that.
Yes.
Thank Troy Reeves when you make it big.
That is a crazy flavor, man. Mariah, one of the things I love about your Instagram is the captions. I think they're very
Oh.
punchy. I think they're very like straight to the point. Where do those come from?
My brain. No, I've
Toxic thoughts.
Yeah, I've never had anyone say that, so thank you.
Right on.
It's usually just anything I find funny. Like
They're so relatable, man. Troy, can you pull one up as we're sitting here to just
Sure,
read so the listeners can get an idea?
I'm so glad you didn't ask me about one, because I would have been like, I don't know. Off the
They're
top.
so good and to the point where it's almost applicable across the way. When you look at her images and see what she wrote with them, there's a pairing there that you'll absolutely see.
it's definitely like I used to want to do the cool thing. Yeah, like,
So I got to meet Post Water Malone the other
How
day.
hilarious is that?
You need to see the picture with it.
Right
it's,
on.
It's a watermelon that's dressed up with hair.
That's my best work to date, honestly.
It's great.
If there's one I'm most proud of, it's Postwater Malone.
100%. So many people, when I told them I was doing that, was like, please stop. Like,
Like, was this just because you wanted to do it?
Yeah.
Or,
I had that idea for like a year and a half, and I'm like, it'll be funny. It's going to be so funny.
It was.
And
It is.
And well, I think a large part of that, the captions, is you developing a strong voice as an artist. Like when we look at other artists or the people that come through, I think they try to go out of their way to explain themselves. Where with you, there's a level of confidence and strength in your voice of like, this is what it is. Or is that wrong?
No, I appreciate it. I guess never thought about it, but it's definitely, because I used to do the same thing where I'm like, I'm going to say a certain line or like a lyric that I like or something. And then it's just, I don't know, I feel like I'm not being myself. Like I'm kind of just taking on that influencer mentality of like.
Well, it's really cool you say that. Having a conversation with our videographer, Jamin, and some of the clients of like, when we see different people, how important it is to lean into who you are.
Oh, yeah. Huge.
Have you seen that in your work?
Yeah, like especially just with everything going on, it's very much been like, don't take yourself too seriously. Like as much as we all, when you're an artist, it's the most important thing to you, and you want to make the best content or make the best images or videos or whatever you're doing. But it's like, at the end of the day, you're just doing what you like. So like, don't, you're not out here saving lives. You're just
right.
Like, I mean, it's true. Like you're creating, you're doing what you love. Like, don't just laugh about it. Like, if it's not as good as it could have been, do it next time and like laugh about it now.
No, I agree. I mean, this actually goes perfect with Dave just sent me a little lecture today from 3 different people, Alan Watson and Terrence McKenna. I forget the third person. And Terrence was saying, like, who are you in the universe to worry? Like, what are you worrying about? Pay your bills, don't die.
Right.
And it's
two things.
Gotta just the truth.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where you try to hold on to it. That video, like letting go of the nonsense. If you're going to hold on to that image, and who are you to say, like, whatever's going on? Like, if there's a tragedy in your life you perceive as a tragedy today, but someone lost their job, first thing you think of is like, oh my God, I'm so sorry for you. But then there's those people that like, no, 3 months from now, you've doubled the income that you had before because you leaned into who you are, whether it's art, music, whatever medium that is. You just kind of stay the course. But you got to let go of the nonsense of.
Right. Like there's like, I guess like 2 types of nonsense. There's just like the nonsense of like day to day. And then there's like what I like to do. And like, that's my whole like rebranding I'm doing and everything is just like make nonsense. And it's like post Water Malone, like whatever I find funny. I laughed for like 20 minutes at like the idea of Taylor Swiffer. Like, I don't care. Like,
that's
good. I think we saw a crack in the door there of what's coming up.
I'm like, I don't even care. Like, just make whatever, like all those people like that think they're so cool and like trying hard to do, like, I don't know, like you're missing out on a huge part of life, and it's like the nonsensical. Like, it doesn't make you immature. Like,
Right on. I guess.
Just go do like that nonsense, and then tune out all the worrying and that type.
But it's so important for people to hear that, for our listeners to hear that, for the people that are out there that are thinking, can I be an artist? Should I be an artist? I kind of want to do this, but I can't. Like, it's good to hear it from a real artist, from somebody that has gone through it, and to validate those feelings. Like, no, just do you. Like, your tribe will find you, but as soon as you start to act in an inauthentic way, that's when it's like people sense that, right?
Oh yeah. Like, you think in your head, you're like, no, I'm just working hard, or I'm just doing something like this way, I'm doing it right. And then you very quickly realize that, like, you'll just sit there one day and be like, is this who we are now? Like,
right.
Like, this isn't me. Like, what?
How did we get here?
Right. And it's just not worth it at that point.
Well, it's as you said that, as an artist, we talk to a lot of people who also almost have 2 lives. As Troy had shared, as an artist and a musician, he also had another retail job. For you, have you ever had another retail job to help support the dream?
Yes. I was literally just considering it the other day. I worked when I first came out of college at Dollar Tree. And that was like, that was a whole thing.
the experience that you've probably lived.
In case you didn't know, everything's $1 there.
How many times have you been asked the price for something at the Dollar Tree?
Oh, I think every day I worked there. And then there was like the funny joke. It's like the old man that walks up and is like, huh, it's $1. I'm like, yeah.
That's the first time I've heard that, sir. That
right up there on the door.
I actually didn't know everything at Dollar Tree is $1. I've also never been to Dollar Tree. So.
Oh, what?
Listen.
Well, they don't exist in New York as far as I know.
Yeah, New York City.
Yeah, New York City, Long Island.
It's a whole state, man.
It's true. It's true. Well, my part of New York, which is better than everyone else's.
Don't be hating on Western New York.
You should just go one afternoon.
It's magical. The things you can get for $1.
If I can get a kazoo, I mean, I'll be happy.
Oh, absolutely.
Listen, man, I'll take my daughter in there and give her $20, and she'll lose her mind. Like, she'll grab 20 things. You can grab 20 things for $1. Like, it's bananas. If you go in there, you'll totally understand the look that she got on her face when she relived her time in Dollar Tree.
Okay.
Just it's although there is state tax, so that's always a fun conversation to have, unless it's a food item. So that is legit $1, but it's like $1.07. So yes, I've had people want to fight me over 7 cents on their like $1 item.
I mean, I would do that over in Arizona, Ken.
That's what
if you try and tell me that this is more than 99 cents, I'm not buying it.
Oh, that's fair.
I spend half my day watching those videos. Half my day on those compilations, man.
And Karen's.
Yeah. Coolest thing I saw on your Instagram that really stood out to me was scenes from my eyeballs.
Sorry, that's funny.
Because
go ahead.
I think it's really interesting with photographers. Our photographer is amazing. And I've heard him talk about the frustration of trying to capture certain images at that special moment or in that time or frame it. How do you find that?
So it's funny because like I have a immense respect for street photography. Like I love people that do it. They go out, they can talk to people, everything else. It is not me.
Right on.
I want it to be so bad, and it's just not. And so that's how I got in my head, and I would walk around and like challenge yourself to go out and like take pictures, and like whatever you see at that moment, that's what it is. And then like when I would travel, I would challenge myself, like, go talk to a stranger, and then I'd wuss out every time. Or they'd be like super weird and it got like dangerous.
Do you have one of those times that you could share with us?
Yeah, Atlanta.
Wait, but how dope is Atlanta though?
I mean, it was cool until like they tried to kidnap me, but like.
Well, I was just talking about the city. I have a weird love for Atlanta after the 2 times I've been.
I mean, their aquarium is the best.
Amazing.
I could spend years in there. It's like the Georgia Aquarium, absolutely worth it. But yeah, I approached a stranger and I was like, I'm gonna get like a portrait. Like he was looking at me, like I had my camera. I'm like, okay, it's not gonna be weird. It'll be fine. Like it's a very public.
What could be weird about this?
Yeah, it's a very public area. It's fine. So like I went up and he's talking and I'm just like, do you mind if I take your picture? And he's like, yeah. And then he's like, what are you like doing? And you know, woman traveling alone, like I'm vague about it. I'm just, so then he's like, I can show you like all these places in Atlanta. He's like, let's just go back to your car. And I'm like looking around and like, you know how everyone's just kind of doing that thing where like we kind of see what's going on, but we're just not gonna look, like we're gonna just pretend we don't see it. So I'm like, okay, cool. Because I'm not a very assertive person. I'm working on it. But so
good.
So cool. But the bathrooms were on the way to the like parking garage. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna duck in here and then just, you know, tell someone in the restroom. And this short little security guard saw me like start to go with him. She didn't like know my plan, and she yelled so loud. It like Whoa. It was the most mortifying experience of my life. She's like, what the hell do you think you're doing? Like he's been targeting you the whole, like it was so, and of course then everyone in the whole park is staring at me and I'm just like, I couldn't even find words.
That was the last street photography we saw from Mariah Wild.
It was pretty much the last time I tried. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get on that horse again.
So Yeah, that's wild. I understand. These
Yeah.
scenes from my eyeballs, I think, are amazing, especially as an artist, for to get your frame and to see what you see. I think that's amazing. And one of the reasons your Instagram's so great. Your images are wonderful.
Thank you.
Because I look at them and say, like, that's how she sees the world. And then paired with your captions, it's amazing.
Thank you.
So, how did you get into photography? And also, as we spoke about before, about like the retail side, speak about, the fact that you don't have a retail job and you get paid to do photography.
This is true. So yeah, I started in high school on like film. We had like a film class, and not to be whatever, but I was good at it. So I was like, oh, like I'm kind of like naturally good at this, and it's fun, and you got to like work with your hands to develop. And so I said I got to go to community college for free. So I'm like, okay, I'll get a business degree, figure out how photography works as a business, and then like get a digital camera and like play from there. I didn't follow that plan at all, but like
Also smart.
yeah. So then I reached a point, you kind of want to give up. Like I reached a point you hear over and over, you're not going to make money in photography. And I heard that for 2 years starting out. Yeah. So I switched to nursing briefly, hated it. I was not a good nurse. And then I moved to Pittsburgh and went to school at the Art Institute.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a love-hate because you don't have to go to school to be an artist. You don't. But there is something to be said about the people you meet there.
The networking.
Right. So I don't really consider like photography. I feel like I got as good as I did just from practice, and I did learn in school, but it's more so the people you meet while doing it. So I met people there that set me up, and I worked with the Steelers. And from there, it just kind of like, once you get into something that someone finds impressive, it doesn't have to be the Steelers. It could just be anything. Then they're kind of like a legitimacy to it. Yeah. And people are like, okay, well, you worked with them. Now I want to work with.
The first one's the hardest.
You get a resume.
Right. Yeah.
You start building the rap sheet.
Yeah. So you just like build it up and kind of go from there. And there's the thing with photography, and like, it's not just weddings. Right. Which and that's not knocking, because wedding photography, like, they make bank. Right. But it's definitely like there's an industry for literally everything. So like, especially with social media, you can do like that avenue. There's like billboards you see, menus you see, literally everything you see has to come from somewhere. And so trying to explain that to my parents when I got into commercial photography, I was like, okay, look at that. Like, there's like a menu board in an elevator. I'm like, those pictures came from somewhere. And then they were like, oh, so that's what you do. I'm like, yes.
That's it. Yeah. That's it, folks.
Yeah.
So
there it is.
How did you, for those that don't know, I mean, you do photography for Disney and you travel to Florida.
I do. I have to go next week.
You don't sound too enthused.
I make that drive a lot.
Now, how did that happen? And what's it like?
So that was actually like a joke initially. Like, I was living in Pittsburgh. I graduated college. I was working at Dollar Tree and like going to the library to get internet, because like I didn't have internet. It was like basically squatting. It's true. So it was a good time. It was a good time in life.
Hey, at least libraries were open back then.
Right. This is true. But like, I went to LinkedIn of all places, like the most underutilized tool, I feel like. And I saw an internship for Disney, and I'm like, screw it. Like, I'm not doing anything. So I applied, and I like jokingly put down my nickname, preferred name. Like, if you're Daniel, you go by Dan. I'm just like, Marms. Like, I figured there's no way in hell I'm going to get.
Disney hired Marms.
They put it on my name tag.
That's a beautiful story.
They were like, hey, just, they like double checked with me. They're like, so you put this down on like your resume? Do you want that? I'm like, no, please change it to like a professional. They like made my work email that initially. It was mortifying. Wow. But it was literally just like a fluke. And when I asked my boss, the guy who hired me, he said, he's like, the difference between your portfolio and other like college students that had graduated is, he's like, it doesn't look like you just went out on vacation and took your camera. He's like, it looks like you're deliberately trying to be a photographer. And he's like, that's like a level we're looking for. So I got there, did the internship, cried like every day because it was so hard. Learned no, like
thought you were gonna say tears of joy. Like, I got this.
I mean, no, I mean there were those moments too, magic. But it was just a lot of work that I didn't know, and like I was thrown into that world, and I don't regret it at all because it was.
They're crazy.
Yeah, like it was so
They're
much.
crazy.
The learning curve was just insane. But it, you know, you meet a ton of people, and it was great.
And then you've worked, you know, like that's
like on my like I have Disney on my resume, I have like Universal on my resume. Like,
right on. Good for you.
Huge.
Yeah.
That's definitely like a stressful time. How do you normally manage your stress?
Well,
Professional dessert taster.
Used to be desserts. I gotta just lay off those. No, I think it's definitely finding other avenues.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always have to be creative. I think that's a big thing that I've learned, especially this year, is like as much as painting is not stressful, you know, now I'm putting myself in a mindset where it's kind of the same way of thinking. So going and doing something like physical, like taking a walk or like playing volleyball or just like pushing yourself to do something that isn't creative is super beneficial.
Right on. Just to go in the other direction.
Right.
Since you brought up painting,
Yes.
I happen to be there for your one and only art show, and that's like a side of yourself that you don't seem to flex as much, even though you're great.
Thanks.
Talk about that. You know, how was like throwing an art show? Don't give me those eyes. It was good.
Yeah, it was definitely, I set out a goal and I said, I have 1 year, I'm going to do an art show. I'm going to do it on my birthday for some reason.
Tell people the concept because it's really cool.
So it was called Toxic Thoughts. It'll be a year pretty soon coming up. And it was basically like from all the sludge and terribleness of like what you go through in your mind, was in like those low points especially, is you think these reoccurring thoughts over and over and over, and they just like, they drive you nuts. And I call it like hamster wheeling.
Understood.
So like I create all these visuals based on like the same things over and over. So like when you're fixated on something, like you're hamster wheeling and like you don't even know where to start. You're just fixated. So I made visuals for all of those in like painting form and like set up a whole conceptual show for it. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of trial and error. I could not have done it without everyone. Like they came together so much. Like you like to think you're alone when you make those types of like artwork, and then literally like watching the recap, I like ugly sobbed because it's like all my friends hanging my artwork, and I'm like, oh okay, this is fine.
No, it was great. I just like seeing it, so I didn't care hanging it, and I know no one else did either.
No, everyone was super supportive, but it's a huge. I recommend everyone does it at least once, just to like put yourself out there and try it. Like I'd do it again, but
I can't wait.
Better.
Understood. That first time's always tough. Well, as you're here today, we're gonna de-stress you. What do you know about flotation therapy?
So nothing. I'm like, I could sit here and guess. I didn't really look it up because I just wanted to go in with no knowledge and kind of see what happens. There's a lot of salt I see.
Right.
So
a lot of salt.
Cool.
Sometimes that's the best way to go in with no expectations. I'll walk you through when we get off here.
Okay.
But let's do a scale of 1 to 10. Where's your stress level?
Ooh, there's like the answer you say to other people. It's like, well, I'm at a 4. I'm chill.
Give us the real answer.
9.
Hovering around 9.
I think that's the highest we've had so far.
That's high.
I got you.
Thanks for being honest.
Sweet. So we're going to take a break. We're going to walk you through. We're going to get you in the tank. When we come back, folks, you're going to hear Mariah after her float.
Dope.
2 boxes of your favorite cereal. Like, get Frosted Cheerios is 1.
This just
and then, like, get some Lucky Charms.
Tainting the cereal.
I see that perspective, but really you're just making 2 separate great things into one somewhat greater thing.
No. I don't you guys lost me on this. I'm sorry. It's not happening.
Well, back we are.
Anyway.
Just eat one box of cereal then, It's your own world.
It's
It's your own bowl.
It's my life.
Own milk. What kind of milk do you guys use? That's a key thing here. Vanilla almond for the win.
That's true. That's solid.
I
Whatever
use
milk's in the
2%.
I do.
Annie.
I do.
Whole cow's milk.
I know, that's serious stuff. Yeah, just regular milk, man. Regular milk.
It's fair.
Yeah, they. So let's get this started. Welcome back, everyone. Mariah had just finished up her first 60-minute float ever. Mariah, how are you feeling?
Amazing.
Yeah.
I still just want to say like a noodle.
When you before you went in, you kind of self-reported at like a 9 for your stress levels. If you were to say right now, just coming out of your float, where would you put yourself at?
I'd say like probably a 0. Like not even exaggerating. Like I want to say like a 2 just because
Give it something.
You're always supposed to be stressed, but like I'm not.
Right on.
Yeah. I'm not. I'm so chill right now.
I wish you listeners could see your facial expressions because it's just that I don't give a shit.
No, it feels so
Can you
good.
walk us through your experience and what it was like for you for the first time?
All right, I can do that. Sorry, I'm still just like riding
Right
high.
on, post-float
Riding
brain.
high, yeah.
You're good.
It's great. So not gonna lie, I was a little terrified initially. Like you opened the hatch and it's just like a cartoon black hole you're looking into. That's all I could think of.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can see those too from, right
like
on.
I just like looked at it and you're like, all right, you're just gonna step in, and I'm like, I don't know where the ground is. But no, like I got in, like lowered myself in. You could like hear the music, super relaxing. And then you like, I didn't realize you mentioned that like the tension would be released, and I didn't realize how long I would fight it. Like that was I feel like with any form of like meditation, anything, it's like, oh, you just instantly relax. Like it wasn't the case. Like I definitely fought it for a while in there.
Yeah.
But then you like just reach a point and you have no concept of time. So like, who knows if it was 2 minutes in, 10, I don't know.
Right.
But it's just like gone. Like it was just like, okay, like we're here. We're just going to live in this. And it was great. Like once it just, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I think I'm relaxed now.
Yeah. How was that silence for you?
There was at one point where like I would talk out loud to like, just because you're not used to nothing.
Right.
So like I would talk just to hear what it sounds like. But it was just kind of weird being left alone with your thoughts. You start singing like songs in your head or like try to make up for it in a way. But it was still super like, yeah, like everything is like, I'm now aware of like every sound right now.
Well, what was super cool in that silence, what I thought would be interesting for you is you talked about being a hamster, being on the hamster wheel. And
yes.
For me, when you shared that, I automatically went to when there's silence and there's no distractions, I can hear the hamster wheel thoughts in my mind of what I'm telling myself.
Yeah, it was exactly kind of how I thought. Like that's why I didn't want to like do research prior or anything, is I didn't want to like influence like how you're supposed to feel when you do this, or like I just wanted to like whatever happens. And I was very much like wheeling for a while, and then I'm like, this is a really cool experience. Like stop, because like be right here right now, because like how often are you like, I'm not doing this I've never done it before, so it's like enjoy this sensation of nothing pretty much.
just the gift of being present in that moment. It slows things down. I find that like intellectually we're all running at a high pace throughout the day, and when you get in the tank, you're essentially throwing the e-brake on your car. And you see all of the stuff that's going on, and you hear the things that you're telling yourself. And if you're not telling yourself positive things, that's the opportunity to recognize it and go, wait a minute, if I'm filling my brain with these, if I'm wheeling in a negative, toxic environment way, that you can change that.
Right. It was huge. Like as you said, is that you were able to kind of like put the pause on and be like, all right, I don't need to think, especially because we like to feel guilty when we're not busy. like that.
Yeah.
We love
yeah.
to like hate on
Preach.
when we're like, oh, we're just relaxing, or like we're sitting for 2 seconds. And so it's literally an uninterrupted hour of, you know, in your head, you're like, I could be doing this, could be doing that, like this, or like this is what I need to do next or whatever. And it's, you just kind of eventually tell yourself like, shut up.
Yeah.
Like, just stop. And you relax and you're like, okay, you know, this is what you need right now, and this will eventually take. I had like weird Mr. Miyagi moment, like we're just like, it's very zen, just like, all right, like relaxing in this moment is only gonna get you farther later. Like, so that kind of like also eased it to like justify it in a way.
Yeah, it's one of those things there you become much more conscious in the moment and appreciative. And there's a level of gratitude there of like, wait a minute, I don't have to live that way, of like the hamster wheel. I like wheeling. That's an excellent way, because we all get there. And some of us, that voice runs up front, and some of it runs underneath. That is the foundation of some of our actions. If you're not confident in yourself, you're telling yourself you're not confident, and it's a self-fulfilling.
Yep.
As a creative, how do you think you could use floating?
I mean, definitely it just like, like just stopped everything for a minute. And for a while, like I thought I had to like visualize something when I was in there. Like I don't know, like I had this thought like, oh, you're going to have some like big epiphany or like visual and something I like I need to come out of this and like create something. And the fact that I don't is actually like the best feeling in the world. It's like, okay, I feel like kind of a clean slate.
Yeah.
So like very much like, okay, like I can go back and like whatever comes out of it, like it's,
or nothing at all.
Yeah, or nothing. Yeah, like something, nothing, doesn't matter. Like,
yeah, I think removing that expectation is a huge part of like this experience, and then just life as a whole, especially as a creative. I mean, I'm sure days you expect to make something is when it's the most frustrating.
Right. No, it was great because it's just like going in, I'm like, oh, this is what I have to do. Like, you know, I didn't know what I was getting into. So I'm like, this is what you should feel, or this is what you should do. And then once you get in there, you're like, oh, this is nothing. Like, this is nothing like anything I've felt before.
Yeah.
So it was so cool, so surreal. Like 10 out of 10.
Right on.
Other than this, like, kind of relaxing and just letting go, did you actually have any specific thoughts?
There were like certain. I thought a lot about mermaids.
Of course. You want to be one?
Very much so. Like, just that, like, floating, and then, like, I have crazy long hair, so, like, I would obviously feel that from time to time. Like, that's a weird feeling. So then I would, you know.
This is attached to me.
Kind of. Just like, what is happening? And it was kind of crazy. You'd reach a point where you, like, your mind would trick itself into thinking you could see, like, light on either side. Or, like, I'm like, there's clearly, like, a crack in the door. And, like, that's where the, light. But it wasn't. Like,
were you having an out-of-body experience?
I don't think so. Maybe. Because I'm, like, looking around, like, well, there's where the door, or then I'd see, like, light this way. And I'm like, there's not physically light in here.
Right.
So it was kind of I don't know, it was just cool. It was a cool experience.
That's awesome. Mariah's wonderful hosting you, meeting you. Love following you. Love your images. You're so good. Keep it up.
Thanks.
Where can the people find you online?
It's on Instagram is where I'm, like, most active. So it's just at Mariah Wild. Mariah_Wild.
Right on. Right on. The post-float brain is real. It happens. We'll make sure to get out your handles, though. Troy, anything for the people before we get out of here?
You know, stay calm, everyone. Stay in good spirits. Times are tough, but there's always a brighter day.
Whoa. Whoa. Inspiration. I love Troy.
Killed it.
Thanks so much for being here with us, Mariah. You're one of us now. And thank you for listening and being part of another episode. If you like what you heard, subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on the notifications. You can also subscribe to our Spotify channel and access the treasure trove of past episodes. Also, give us a follow on social at Levity412 on Facebook and Instagram. If you have a question you'd like us to answer on air, message us on social or email us at hello@levityfloatstudio.com. And if we answer your question on the Floatcast, we'll send you an exclusive Levity shirt. They're soft as a cloud and as comfortable as a hug. Anything else, Troy, for the people?
Peace.
Love you.